Got to do it. I'm sorry, man. I got to tell you the three things that could be Achilles' heels for the Jaguars this season. We'll do it in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to another edition of Locked On Jaguars. I am the host of the Locked On Jaguars podcast, Tony Wiggins. The Locked On Jaguars podcast is your team every day, and we thank you for making us your first listen. A quick reminder, we're also free to subscribe to on our YouTube page. Make sure when you get to YouTube at Locked On Jaguars, you go there, you hit the like button, you leave a comment, you hit the bell button so that you receive notifications, and please make sure that you subscribe. Also, if you listen to audio podcasts, wherever you do that, make sure you tap in every single day to ensure that you do not miss an episode. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right. So we got to do the show today, and you guys know I don't like thinking negatively. If you're an everydayer, shout out to the everydayers. We call them everydayers because they're here every single day, and they drop comments, they interact here with me on Locked On Jaguars, and we're eternally grateful for that. You want to be one, all you got to do is just tune in every single day. If you're first time here, make sure you tap in, leave a comment. I do take constructive criticism, but one thing I never do in this show is I never say the equivalent of, hey, don't fumble. I always say, protect the football, right? I'm always really positive, not sunshine and rainbows positive, but I'm always really sort of not trying to speak negativity into existence when it comes to the team. In the past, I never had to do that because there was already negativity associated with, the play on the field and the results that were because that happened because of it, if you've been a Jaguar fan. But what I will say is this: I'm usually the type that what I do is I talk about the positives. I talk about how, what the path is for the Jaguars to actually be successful. I don't talk about the things that we can't control that will inevitably make them have a more difficult time to be successful and achieve their goals, because that almost feels like what you're doing is you're pouring water on some burning embers that people have because the season has started. It feels like you're giving people something to worry about as opposed to something to be happy about, right? But with one of the things that comes along with improvement, and one of the things that comes along with expecting success, is trying to figure out where the landmines are that could disrupt this journey that we're going on this year. So I had to do some research and to think deeply and to look at the things that have derailed other teams in the past. And it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. It's football, right? It's very, very obvious that one of the things is the Jaguars have to stay healthy. They absolutely have to stay healthy, 100%. And it's very, very imperative. And every team around the league can say that exact same thing. So it's like really, really nothing new in that respect, right? But they do. They just have to stay healthy. But in particular with this team, it's obvious that the first thing they have to stay healthy, or the first place where they have to stay healthy, is at the quarterback position. The quarterback position is obviously that, like, there aren't very many teams around the league that are equipped to handle their quarterback not being healthy. And that makes the Jaguars no differently. Now, I don't mean for a game here or a game there. I mean, or for a drive here or a drive there. Remember last year the Jaguars played against KC, and Patrick Mahomes went out. And when he went out, former Jaguar, we call him check down Chad. Chad Henne came in and he actually delivered for the Kansas City Chiefs on a 97-yard drive. Now he ain't do a whole bunch, but the point is he was able to allow KC to sustain. It's not going to work if you're trying to win a championship and trying to ultimately win the Super Bowl. So obviously, the first thing is to be able to survive injuries at the quarterback position. The trenches are another thing, and we're going to talk about those on both sides of the ball in segment 2. And then in segment 3, we'll go over the fact that they need improvement from their younger players. But back to the quarterback position, Trevor Lawrence. I tried to come up with a number, like how many days or how many games could he reasonably miss where C.J. Beathard could get us through. And obviously, that depends on what part of the schedule they're going to play on. So there's 2 rules of thought that you could look at here. You could say, okay, if you look at the toughest part of our schedule and say over a 3 or 4 game stretch, whatever you think that might be, well, if they were going to go 2-2 in that stretch anyway, in your mind, and they go 0-4, 1-3, it's not as catastrophic as if they go through a part of the schedule where they were supposed to win for 3 or 4 weeks, and you expected them to go 3-1 or 0-4, and then that turns into a 1-3 or 0-4. Now, even when you have Trevor healthy against the meat of your schedule, against the most difficult teams, if they were going to split, they were going to split regardless. The key in the NFL is winning the games that you're supposed to and winning some of the games or a little bit more of the games that are more evenly matched by really, really good teams. That's how you end up 12-5 or 11-6. The way you end up 8-9 is losing 2 or 3 games that you're supposed to win. And the easiest way to lose those games is to play those teams with a backup quarterback. So there's a few ways to look at it. It depends on if there's going to be an injury, the length of that injury. It depends on the severity of it, obviously. And it also depends on when and where and what time those things happen, whether you're able to overcome it based on the timing and where it happened. I've seen quarterbacks, backup quarterbacks, especially veteran quarterbacks, come in and hold the fort down until the leader got back. We saw the Ravens make the playoffs last year and probably should have won their first playoff game without Lamar Jackson being 100%. We saw it just this past season, but it's an anomaly. It's something that no team around the league wants to think about, no team around the league wants to talk about, but because this is a contact sport, even in contact sports that aren't football, there are Clipper fans that think that over two of the last 3 years, the best team in basketball has been the Clippers, but their 2 best players, especially Kawhi Leonard, have not been available when it came playoff time. And they just have to deal with that. Football is a little bit different because you have so many moving parts, but still the one player on any football team that does still have that effect that NBA players, the great NBA players have, is the quarterback, because he touches the ball every single time on offense. And football is just by nature a quarterback-centric entity that just means that position is just that important. And throughout history, that's been backed up. That's why the teams that generally win are the teams with the best player at that position. So we'll talk about some of the things that they can control and some of the things that they can't control. This segment 1 was all about uncontrollable things. Segment 2 will be about the same thing. And then segment 3 will be about things that they absolutely can control. I'm going to discuss that and, of course, discuss more than just that. And we'll do that here on Locked On Jaguars after I first let you know about today's sponsor, the sponsor for today's show, and that would be FanDuel. That's right. Man, it is football season. I know you guys are as happy as I am about that because I get to get busy on FanDuel again. That's right. Get ready for the NFL season with an incredible offer from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube, and YouTube TV. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can be on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel is an official partner of the NFL. You guys are an official and unofficial partner of the Locked On Jaguars podcast, where it's your team every day. We thank you for making this and us your first listen. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell on YouTube so you get notifications whenever an episode drops. Can y'all believe we're 1 week away? Well, a week and 2 days, but you're a week away from your Friday being followed up by game day on Saturday, game day on Sunday. And I know everybody can't wait. I wonder how many people have already gone and gotten their tailgate food and they have it marinating in their freezer. People, the first week, nobody's going to go out to the stadium, but you'll have tailgates at home because the Jaguars will be on the road against the Colts. But I know everybody's going to be cooking and smoking. I'm talking about, when I say smoking, I mean meat on the grill. I don't mean inhaling anything going inside of your body. So I know that I will be starting at about 9 o'clock that Sunday morning, slow cooking some little meat with a little smoke coming through it. So by the time game time comes, we'll have vittles and we'll have our eyeballs glued in on that television. Hopefully one of the things that we see are healthy guys in the trenches, because having unhealthy guys in the trenches for a long period of time is number 2 on my list of things that could derail the Jaguar season. It's kind of starting out not as good as it could be, not as bad as it could be, but not as good. Devon Hamilton is on the IR list. I know they want to bring him back. He's going to automatically, by nature, miss 4 games. And unfortunately for him, and you listen to this right now, as someone who suffers from back problems, I don't like the fact that his back is injured and it's going to leave him out for a while. I really don't like the fact that his back is injured and they thought it was just something that he was going to be able to get over and he'd be ready to go when he got back. It's a real bummer. It's a real bummer that it's obviously not. I just don't want it to linger. That's why I use the term for a long period of time. Because the thing about a back injury, man, he could come back and tweak it again. And when he's out with the back injury, he can't be doing too much to stay in shape. So that means even when he comes back, he might not be in shape. He may lose weight or gain weight. I know he can't be in great physical condition. Back injuries stop you from doing anything. Not just the thing that you want to do. Well, can I figure out a way and stay in shape any other kind of way? No, you can't. Like if you have a shoulder injury, yeah, you can do cardio, right? You can ride a bike, you can do it. And it's not the same as being in football shape, but at least you're doing some activity. With a back injury, one of the things that stops a back injury, you know what it is? You got to be stable, stability, not moving. Being still while it heals up or whatever happens there. So we don't know the exact injury. I'm going to sit here and play doctor, and I'm not going to sit here and make it seem like my personal situation is the same as his, because for one, I don't know what it is. 2, he's a world-class athlete. And at this stage of my life, well, at any stage of my life, I've never been a world-class athlete, but I used to be a little athletic, but not now. So the thing is it's going to be a little bit different. All I'm going to tell you is back injuries are aggravating. It's one of the injuries that really sometimes is the hardest to diagnose, because you can tell a doctor your back is hurt and he can find absolutely no reason why it should be, but he'll totally believe you that it's still hurting. So those long-term injuries like that, it really, really does bother me. They can't have any more along the defensive line. They're in a little bit better situation because they have Fadakasi. Jeremiah Ledbetter has looked really, really good in the preseason. They got Adam Gossett and the rookie Lacey to go along with Will Robinson Harris. So they have a little bit more depth than they had last year. And because their offense is a little bit better, I don't think you're going to see teams really try to exploit the Jaguars' defensive line and take time to do that, because it takes time. That's a time-consuming thing. That's like throwing a bunch of body punches, which can be very effective. The only problem is, I think if the Jaguars' offense is as explosive as I think it's going to be, and as I thought it would be yesterday and the day before when I mentioned on the podcast, if that's going to be the case, then teams may not feel as inclined to be as invested as taking that slow, methodical approach. They may feel like they have to put a bunch of points on the board. That's why this thing kind of works hand in hand, but they cannot afford more injuries along that front. They absolutely need to continue to get healthy on the offensive line. Cam Robinson will be out also 4 weeks for a different reason, a suspension. Cooper Hodges is gone. They did bring back the young kid Vance that they let go, but now Cooper Hodges is going on IR. I like where the starters are. Anton Harrison seems like he's gonna, he's gone past whatever shoulder injury that he had in the preseason. He's going to be available to play. So they're gonna have some heavy hitters out there. Ben Barch is back. That's your left guard, along with Walker Little at right tackle. I mentioned Harrison at right tackle, Brandon Sheriff at guard, and of course Luke Fortner at center. So coming in, the Jaguars they pretty much have 5 starting caliber players, 5 guys that are really good players, and it might even be the future of this team. They have them already, and they're going to be healthy. They got to stay that way. It doesn't mean that they don't have some depth guys behind them. It doesn't mean that the guys that are going to come behind those guys and fill in for those guys are not capable. But you don't want too much of that stuff being tested. Wait till Cam comes back, and then you'll even have more flexibility. But those trenches have to stay, and those trenches have to remain. They could probably beat a lot of teams without being super healthy on those 2 lines. But remember, our goal here is to win the games that you're supposed to, and then be healthy enough to at least give yourself a fighting chance in those games that are toss-ups against some of the better teams in the league. All right, I want to get to something else here in segment 3, and I think it's super, super important that we, not whitewash it, that we go over it and we talk about it. And it's going to be the third reason why I believe the Jaguars, don't let your enthusiasm go away, but why I believe the fans that if they're going to have cause for pause about anything, this will be it. And what it will be is these are the things that they could control, and that is the improvement from the youngsters on the defensive side of the ball, not on the offensive side of the ball, because our youngsters on the offense are already proven. I think we have some guys on the defense that have to prove themselves, and I'll talk about that more in just a second on Locked On Jaguars after I let you know about the Gametime app. You get the Gametime app in your app store or go to gametime.co. If you are a ticket buyer, if you go to events, if you love your favorite events but don't like the stress that comes along with it, then we have the stress reliever right here. Gametime is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and just start getting hyped for all the fun you'll have. Man, get your outfit ready. Go out to eat before these events. Leave all of the stress and all of the trouble to the Gametime app. You can get images of your seats before you buy, so you know exactly what you expect when you arrive. You buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. Snag the tickets without stress with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem Locked On NFL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, man, we're running it down. It ain't no game here. It's all about the Jacksonville Jaguars and their season and the things that they have to do in order to remain healthy. Now, if you really, really, really want to check something out, check out the Ultimate NFL Season Preview. Man, it's out, and we did it a little bit different today. So I want you to thanks again for making Locked On Jaguars your first listen every day. The Locked On Ultimate NFL Season Preview is here. The 7-episode extravaganza brings opinions, analysis, and plenty of debate from all 32 of our NFL hosts and added insights from our national experts. It's a can't-miss series before the season kicks off. Catch every episode on Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Now, you can check that out, too, on our YouTube page here at Locked On Jaguars. I tell you what, we got some fools around. When I say fools, I mean that with the ultimate affection, and I'm one of them, right? Got guys that love to pick at each other, and me and Tyler Rowland went back and forth a little bit, so it was really, really fun, and I've been enjoying all of that content. So make sure you make that your next watch, your next listen here on Locked On Jaguars. Third and final reason, as we do a quick recap and having a cause to pause, a prolonged injury at the quarterback position, lack of healthy trenches on both sides of the ball, and now needing improvement for our youngsters. These are the three main things the Jaguar fans have to be cautious of. Like I said, it's not like you can control them, but still, it's something just to put into your mind. It's things that could derail your hopes for this season to a certain extent. Trayvon Walker. I love Trayvon's game. Everybody knows that. I love his approach. I love the prospects of what he can be. I understand why they made him the first pick, right? I think he's markedly improved. I think it has to show and manifest itself on the field. I believe he can be their best player. And if he shows up to be their best player this year, this defense is absolutely different. What I want and what's going to happen, hopefully they're the same thing. I think what I want and what he wants and what everybody who wants that believes in Trayvon, they want it to happen. We just have to have demonstrated performance. Now, do I think we're going to get it? Absolutely, yes. But it still has to happen. It has to be one of those things. Because I think as he goes, then comes Devin Lloyd. He goes with him. I think Andre Cisco, who's a year older than both of those guys, takes that next step. Because his first year, he pretty much was fighting through rehabbing off of an ACL. And then they had to, you had people not putting him on the field yet. But when he got on the field, he showed you he operated at a bit of a different gear. I think he has to go out and get better. Guys like Greg Jr., who I believe is going to play a lot of nickel. He's going to be on the field a lot for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Got to go out, and he has to elevate. Chad Muma, when he gets his opportunity, whenever he's in the game for either Devin Lloyd or Foy Oluwakan, Chad Muma has to be the guy. The rookie stuff doesn't fly anymore. You've been in the league over a year now. Now we need to see really good tackling. We need to see guys filling those holes at the linebacker position. Tyson Campbell, let's go to the next level. You talk to people in Jacksonville, including me, we tend to talk about Tyson Campbell as if he's already one of the 5 or 6 best corners in the league. And that's because we can kind of see the profile of where it's headed and that he's going in that direction. The rest of the league doesn't see him that way yet. So instead of us sitting around here just calling them haters for what they don't see, let's just hope that what Tyson does is go out and say, let me show you improve it. Let me show you improve it. It's funny, though, how people don't have him as one of the top 10. In fact, somebody had him like 29th amongst the corners. I guarantee you if Tyson Campbell was a free agent right now, he would get paid like he was the top 10 corner. Because I think personnel people and people that do it for a living see things a little bit differently, and it's not always aligned with all of the press clippings. I want him to go out and play in a fashion where it leaves no doubt that he needs to be named and listed up there with the top players in the league at his position. I think if he's able to do that along with some of those other things that I just mentioned with the young players on defense, that's where the unit as a whole steps forward and becomes great. A lot of that, too, depends on the health of Devon Hamilton. I was anticipating he'd have a big year this year after getting his contract extension. The contract extension basically verified for me or, validated for me what I've always done. If you've heard me over the years, I have always heaped praise on Devon Hamilton. I have always thought that he was better than most people thought he was. And then when they repaid him, it was almost like, you were right. But now with the back injury, hopefully we'll have a chance to see him get back to 100%. And I think these guys, the reason why I mentioned, because I think they're all going to carry it. Everybody's going to carry it. Everybody's going to carry it. Everybody, whoever leads, somebody else is going to follow. I really have confidence that it's going to happen. So the show that I just did consisted of what things we hope don't happen, but that could happen, that could derail the Jaguars' hopes for this season. Now, when I say derail, I don't mean not make the playoffs. I don't mean that they won't be competitive. Make no mistake about it. We have Super Bowl aspirations here in Jacksonville, no doubt. The only way they're going to get there, though, is if they avoid some of the catastrophic things that happen to real good teams. Make sure you check us out here on Locked On Jaguars every single day, because it's your team every day. We always thank you for making us your first listen. And enjoy your weekend. It's the last weekend you'll have without an NFL game coming on your team. So enjoy your weekend, and make sure, above everything else, you guys take care of each other. We'll see you here on Locked On Jaguars.